Let's talk about the price of Zcash. Sounds simple enough, right? You ask a question, you get a number. But what if I told you that number isn't the whole story? In fact, it's just one page. Today, we're going to see how that story completely flips depending on which page you're looking at.
Seriously, when you see a price flash on a screen, what are you really looking at? Is it just a number frozen in time, or is it more like a single frame from a much longer movie? We're about to find out, because changing our perspective, even a little bit, can change everything.
All right, let's start small. I mean, really small. We're talking about the here and now, the little flickers of movement that are happening as we speak.
So, in the last 60 minutes, Zcash has nudged up just 0.1%. It's barely a wiggle. If this was the only thing you saw, you'd probably just shrug and think, okay, nothing to see here.
But hang on, let's just zoom out a tiny bit to the last day. And whoa, suddenly that little wiggle is a huge wave. We're talking a nearly 14% gain. Right there, you can see how just shifting your view from 1 hour to 24 hours tells a completely different tale.
So you'd think zooming out more would make things clearer, right? Well, not exactly. As we widen the lens to the last few weeks, the plot really starts to thicken. Now check this out. If you look at the last 7 days, Zcash is actually down 1.5%. But if you look at the last 2 weeks, it's up over 25%. It's this wild back and forth that can drive you crazy. So, which is it? Is the trend up or down? Well, it literally depends on which day you started looking. And just to make things even more confusing, if we pull back to see the whole month, we find a pretty big drop, over 30%. So now we've got a story of a great day, a bad week, a great 2 weeks, and a rough month. It's a total roller coaster, isn't it?
So far, the story has been all over the place, a real mess of contradictions. But that's because we've been looking at it with a microscope. What happens when we put that down and pick up a telescope to see the whole landscape?
We've seen all the short-term chaos, the ups and downs. But what does the biggest picture of all have to show us? This. An absolutely incredible 834% gain over the last year. Now that number doesn't just make the 30-day drop disappear, but it puts it in a totally different context, doesn't it? That scary month-long dip now looks like just a little blip on a much, much larger climb. Okay, so we've jumped around from the hour to the day to the weeks and the year. Let's put all those different chapters of the story together and see what the whole book looks like. So here it is, all laid out. A tiny gain in the last hour. A huge jump over the last day, a slight loss over the week, a really strong 2-week rally, a deep dive over the last month, and an absolutely explosive year. You know, every single one of these numbers is true. Each one is a fact, but man, do they tell different stories.
And that's really the heart of it all. The exact same data can be used to tell a story of loss, a story of incredible gain, or a story of just pure chaos, all at the very same time. It's all about the lens you choose to look through.
So, what is the real story of Zcash today? Well, the truth is, it depends on who's telling it. Is it the day trader who only cares about the last hour, or the long-term investor who's only looking at the last year? It makes you think, doesn't it? The next time you see a chart, any statistic, you have to ask yourself, what time frame am I looking at? And what story is it really trying to tell me?